Joe, Phantomaniacs. Welcome to the newest unboxing here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. Today we are looking at the G.I. Joe Classified Series Scrap Iron and Anti-Armor Drone Deluxe Figure Set. You'll notice I seem to have a little damage right out of the box. Not even out of the box. Coming through the box. So I guess it is out of the box, isn't it? This came from Hasbro Pulse, was delivered today. And, no, actually, I take it back. It was delivered yesterday, but I just didn't get around to opening the box until today. And I didn't even notice that at first. And then when I sat down here, I was like, wait a minute. What is this massive part just sticking out of the box? Noel, co-host of Audible Interlude, also received his today. And he said, looks like it's just a poorly packed figure. So we're going to open it up and find out. This is the new packaging style, just a larger version of it, with just a beautiful layout. The black background with the blue in it, the gloss, just everything about this packaging is fantastic. It really works for every size box that they're doing. I adore it. The background, the figure in the front here looks really cool, but then the background with the nods to Sunbow just looks great. I love this overcast sky behind him. Just gives this kind of gnarly looking dude a little more grim presence overall. It's just great. All the accessories are highlighted up here, and then on the back of the box you've got the figure size, everything that's in here. Just a nice classy box. The only thing I would ask for more than this is a cross sell would be nice, but whatever. I mean, this is just great packaging, and I'll probably gush about it for at least a few more figures. Really cool art on the side with that grim looking scarred up face. Just awesome. So let's get it out of here and see, first of all, if anything is damaged, and then just how great this figure is or is not. So yes, that is part of the drone. Yeah, that was just packed poorly. Look at that. I mean, it sticks up above the rim of the tray that it's in, and there was no way for that to not be the case. Doesn't look like anything's actually damaged, so I'm not super worried about it. But yeah, kind of stupid, huh? Let me know in the comments. I know a lot of people have their scrap irons now. Let me know if you had a similar situation with yours, or even if the box was like kind of pushed up a little bit from that, because I don't see how that was ever going to be successful. Like this doesn't push all the way down. It just is where it is. It's just the box is just not big enough. It was totally forced in there. Really weird. But like I said, it's not damaged, so whatever. All right, let's cut through all of our twine here. You know what? I wonder if it would be easier to just untie these at this point. And that's a no. I mean, it's easy enough. It's not too bad. But I think cutting it is still faster and easier. Yeah. There we go. So scrap iron, you know, for me personally, and I know the aforementioned Noel will not appreciate this, because he has scrap iron, I think, is one of his favorites, to the point where he's got an incredible scrap iron costume, complete with the original rocket launcher that scrap iron came with. Scrap iron wasn't really one of my guys. I always thought he was cool. He's fine. He's a good Cobra, but he wasn't, to me, necessarily like, oh, I just love this. How cool is that? That's just great. I don't know. Just wasn't a favorite. He's cool. He's a good Cobra, but he didn't wasn't one of my top tier Cobra guys. Man, the paint on this is fantastic. And then we've got our accessories over here, which I guess we should go ahead and just get everything out, because the drone are there. So there are not going to be any instructions. Not that I think I really need them. As to how to assemble everything, but that's okay. Pretty sure we can figure it out. Got our neat little baggies with the printed Joe and Cobra emblems on them. Look at these blast effects. These are crazy. I'm not a huge blast effects guy. Like, this to me, I appreciate the artistry of them and I think they're cool, but it's not a preferred value add for me. I don't look at them and go, oh, they shouldn't have charged me $10 for this or whatever. Like, I get it, and I'm fine with paying for them, but I could take them or leave them. It's not something that I'm probably going to use. I don't do figure photography. I don't build dioramas. I pose them, put them on the shelf. Later on, pose them differently. Pose them like as I move things around. But like, I'm probably not going to use these. But I can still appreciate them, and I'm okay with them being included because I know how popular things like this are in the community. So, good for them. It's cool. We'll take a closer look at those in a second. I want to see what else we've got here. All right, that is everything. Always make sure you get everything out of those bags before you dispose of them. All right, more blast effects stuff. That's a lot of blast effects. Our two massive rockets that look great. The control, the helmet. Oh man, he's really, really good. And the gun, which is pretty close to Scrap Iron's original. This is awesome. I'm very excited about this. So, as much as, that original wasn't, one of my favorite guys, I've been very, very excited for this classified version, which is, I gotta say, this is one of the things that has made classified such a rewarding line to collect, is even characters that, maybe I never had or didn't care about, or some of the 90s stuff that's starting to happen, wasn't really even aware of. I want to see that stuff because it's exciting to see it realized as a classified figure, to see how the Joe team has brought it to life, updated, changed, whatever. Gosh, that portrait is fantastic. He's not quite Two-Face. Oh, look at that, just gnarly scar tissue. And this to me, I wouldn't necessarily have said, oh yes, give Scrap Iron a bunch of crazy scarification, but this is, I perceive toys as art. And part of the artistry of toy design, particularly in a line like G.I. Joe Classified, is how far can you take something and still remain true to the original. So, when we say the original, here is that original Scrap Iron. As you can see, he's got his big giant helmet that covers up most of his face, and with the aesthetics and the limitations of the 80s figures, they weren't necessarily going to do a lot of scarring in 1980. Oh gosh, is he 84 or 85? I cannot remember. I want to say 80. Oh wait, we might be able to. I've got my readers on. Okay, there we go. 84. Although I think those are Airborne's legs, so I don't know. So he's 84 or 85. Whatever. It doesn't matter really. 84 or 85. They're not necessarily going to give him, a scarred up face at this point in the line. But, I mean, look at that. I like that they made his attire, his fatigues, whatever, a little darker, that matches the rest of the Cobras in the line. I'm okay with the boots being black with a little bit of red on them. That's fine. He's got the knee pads. He's got the, his web gear here is a little more distinct than what we see on the original figure for obvious reasons. It's just the scale and the detail. The vest looks great. Look at the details of the vest. It's got the sort of quilted padding, but then at the top it's got a more modern military type of look there, but it has the two grenades. It's got the black pouch. It's got the buckles. He's got the red undershirt. Oh man, they've done such a great job. The Cobra emblem has been repositioned because, again, larger scale, modern techniques. I'm actually working on I haven't announced it yet, but I haven't announced it yet. I'm working on a Joe costume right now, and I'm really debating on whether to put, because it's based on one of the 1986 figures, and the character has an emblem, a patch on the front of the arm, because that's where they put them back then. And I'm debating on if I should put it where it should go or where it is on the figure. And I think I'm going to put it on the side, but I really have thought about just putting it on the front. Anyway, so there's our original figure. Here is our new scrap ironing classified series, and I think it's awesome. The portrait, it is certainly reminiscent of somebody. The character aspects of it remind me of the young Jim Gordon when he was in the Bat Bunny armor or whatever, but he definitely looks kind of nastier than that. He's sort of Busey looking, but not really. Tell me in the comments, who do you think this looks like? Because there's somebody recognizable in here, and I just can't quite put my finger on it. But man, look at it, just that scar right here, the scars on the side, and these are sculpted. I mean, these are not just painted on. This is fantastic. This figure is awesome. I mean, I was pretty excited about it, but having it in hand, this is one of the top classified figures now. Kind of like with Rock and Roll. Well, no, because Rock and Roll I wasn't as excited about as I am Scrap Iron. But really, just getting this guy in hand, he is a standout. Absolutely. And he feels good. Again, the plastic is a little more solid. Man, everything's moving really nicely here. The plastic is a little more solid than recent waves, so I'm hoping they've gotten back to a more firm plastic like the original, the initial classified releases were. Hip joints feel really good. Drop down works. The rotation is good. That thigh cut, there we go. Moves there. Double jointed knees. The knees are often an issue just because of the thickness of that pinless joint. Yeah, that bottom. Yeah, that bottom's going to need heating up. That is just not going to break loose. And then, modern ankles, everything. We know the articulation on these by now, but it is, I guess, worthwhile to sort of run through it since I'm here. So he is awesome. He looks great. Man. Oh, I can't wait to have the new version of Firefly to go with this guy. Although I will say the Cobra Island Firefly aesthetically is going to match up with him really nicely as well. So I'm excited to put them on the shelf together. Because if you watch the opening of Revenge of Cobra, Scrap Iron and Firefly are hanging out before they get totally bushwhacked by the Joes. So here is his helmet, which features more detail than I realized. It's got the sound dampening whatever grill things here are actually painted silver. There's a gloss over the visor, and then our great Cobra logo on the top. It's actually a stylized version of the one that, like, it's pretty close to the one on the original figure, but it has the red paint added to bring it out. This is great. What a great piece this is. Just look at the sculpted detail. Just looks awesome. And then, as great as that portrait is, you got to have Scrap Iron's helmet on. Fits on really nicely and just looks awesome. Absolutely awesome. It's great. Look at him. I mean, it really is, as much as it's updated and modernized, it really does have that sort of Sunbow Scrap Iron attitude, presence, I guess. Oh, he's great. Okay, so here is the pistol. Very unique, cool design. I can just imagine him raking that across somebody's face if it comes down to close quarters combat. It does have the port for blast effects, and I'm sure that's going to fit perfectly in his hand, because that's one of the things that Classified is nailed every single time, and yes, it does. That's great, but, you know, we've got other things to do with those hands, so we're going to put that right in the holster where it will just stay. And I appreciate that the holster is connected to the belt, so it's not sliding all over the place. Like, it's going to stay where it's supposed to be. The helmet is a little more loose than I would like. It's fine. It's going to look good on the shelf. It's when you're doing photography, you're going to make sure it's in the right place before you take your picture. But it is just a tad loose. Not a big deal, but it just doesn't fit quite the same as some of the other helmets. So here is the original pistol, which this may be a reproduction. I'm not positive. I can't remember if I got a reproduction for him or not. So let's take a look at the drone. Oh man, look at that. So the treads do not move, but they are rubber. They're not articulated up here like I kind of thought they might be, but also, well, okay, so initially I didn't think any of this would really be very articulated, because it just seemed like such a big cost proposition to have anything with multiple joints. But with the pieces being as large as they are, because I didn't realize initially how big this thing was either. So the fact that anything moves around is really, really cool. I'm just going to pop that top on. Goes on very easily, and does stay put, and does move and pose. Will pop back off if you go too far, but within the limitations of the ball joint, it's got a pretty great degree of movement. And then the treads have all kinds of, like, again, they're also on ball joints. I don't know how well you can see them in there, but this central piece is kind of like a little tripod type thing. So the one is sticking up at the top, and then the two coming down here. So really cool. Lots of, again, if you're doing figure photography and you actually have like landscapes and stuff, you could achieve some really cool stuff with these treads and the way that they move. The amount of paint on this thing is fantastic too. These red vents here look great. I love the gray color of the treads, and they just feel great. I don't need them to move. I'm totally fine with the fact that the treads don't move. It would be great if they did, but they feel so cool. That's enough for me. And then on the upper portion here, you've actually got look at the Cobra emblem, the grill work here, or the steel plating work here with the tail lights, basically. And then on the top, side, look at this. Piezoelectric. That's got to be something. That's Mars Industries. Serial number 09041972000 Cobra. Just look at that. What a fantastic piece of detailing this is. On the front, you've got the back is painted silver with this little guidance system, I guess, with the glossy lens. And then these two little pieces right here. Anti-tank 002. So this can't even really be compared to the original system too much. But, I mean, you can certainly see where it is an upgraded version. And if they were to do a retro style scrap iron, perhaps in a bit brighter colors, or maybe a little brighter blue, I could see them just releasing this part with a stand. I'm not saying I really necessarily think they're going to do that, because this is still a very large piece of accessory, but I wouldn't be mad. There's very little the Classified team could do as far as releasing retro versions of things that I wouldn't agree with. Man, look at this little screen on the back here. This is beautiful. Okay, so our rockets, which are laser with a Z guided, fantastic. They're a little rubbery, but they're firm. They're solid enough. It's fine. They're not. This one is not warped in any way. Slides right in, just like the old rockets. Laser guided. Oh, wonderful. Slides right into place. Looks awesome. They do slip right out, but whatever, it's fine. Because of this thing, you know, the way you can angle it, name it, and everything, that's not an issue at all. Oh my gosh, this is just awesome. And then you've got the control pad, or remote, or whatever you want to call it. I love the thumbsticks on this. The screen, detailed printing on the screen, the little antenna. This is just great. What a great accessory. Great, amazing set. So that will fit. I imagine you could probably even manipulate his thumbs onto the little thumbsticks. Yeah, for sure. It'll take a little work to get them both on there, but you absolutely can make that happen. Oh man, he's great. Okay. I love this. Set him to the side, and let's figure out what we've got going on with these blast effects. Man, this is a lot. What all is this supposed to be? I mean, we know. So these are the launching effects, obviously. You've got a beautiful translucent orange plastic with the white painted on there. It just plugs right in, very secure. Looks good too, the seam at the back of the rocket, like where it attaches. Oh, come on now. Really? The seam is really well done. It's very tight, very nice, looks good. Let's get the other one on there. It's funny because the peg almost doesn't look like it's long enough, but it is. It just, because it's, okay, so if you look, I didn't realize this. You've got the edge, so this actually does, this plugs into here, but then this plugs in also. Watch, let's see if you can tell. All right, come on, focus. So the plug goes in, and then the blast actually goes on top of that little sort of coned. That's why it fits so well. Man, that's just some good toy engineering. And then this plugs into there. That plugs into there. You know, or whatever, either side. The ball joint, if you can see, this is slowly kind of falling down from the weight of the rockets. So if you need that to hold a position, you could put a little clear fingernail polish, or I like to put a little electrical tape maybe on there to make it a little more snug. Whatever, however you want it to work, you can certainly do that. I don't think I'm going to display it with these blast effects in. So that's not, well, let's leave those in there because we want to figure out the rest of the blast effects. So that's not going to be really an issue for me, but the weight of these does pull this down. So we've got, however, I can't remember how they had this set up in the promotional images. I mean, I'm sure everybody's going to be able to figure out how they want to pose. I don't know, man. I don't remember how these were all supposed to work. But whatever. They're cool. They're neat effects. Everything is that cool translucent orange with the white. Well, it's not quite white. It's a little off-white deco, which looks better. Yeah, no idea. This is not my, I'm not going to say cup of tea because I think these are really, really cool, but this is not my wheelhouse figuring out how these things interact. I mean, these almost look like they're where the rockets hit, like came down and hit. I don't know, whatever. They're cool. They're neat. I don't want them, But, well, it's not that I don't want... Well, no, I don't. I'm going to put them in a bag and put them in a drawer. But I'm not mad that they're included. I'm not mad that they jacked up the price for these blast effects, because I get it. And they are, to some people, these are definitely selling the toy and adding a value that they otherwise might not perceive. So do stuff like this. Anything that sells more Joes is a good thing to me. So if I have to pay a little more for accessories that I don't necessarily care about, that's fine. I don't care. Because if it's getting other people into it, then that's just going to keep more Joes coming. And that's what we want. That's how the line continues on for 150, for 200, for 250 figures for the next 5 years or whatever. So let's do it. More blast effects, more whatever. That is an awesome set. I am thrilled. I'm going to go stand this guy next to Firefly. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share. Tell your friends about Needless Things. Look at how big this thing is. It's great. Tell your friends about Needless Things. Lots of reviews. Check out our Audible Interlude podcast live streams. Those you can follow Audible Interlude podcast on Instagram to get the scheduling for those. And man, get yourself a scrap iron. It's just an awesome toy. Until next time, Cobra.
Smash that like button if you like Needless Things.